All right, good morning. What is up? And welcome back to the Real TN Fishing YouTube channel. Been in the process of moving all week long, and we're about 95% of the way done. So I have been fortunately blessed enough by my wife this morning to go out and do a little fishing. So we're gonna grab a couple rods, we're gonna grab our backpack, minnow bucket, and we're gonna go see if we can catch some fish this morning. It's supposed to be a pretty mild day. It's still about 30 right now, but it's supposed to get up into the 50s. So I'm right here by the water now. I'm only about 3 minutes away where we moved to. So yeah, we're gonna go out here and we're gonna see if we can't catch some fish. So as always, thanks for tagging along, and hey, let's go fishing, y'all. A lot of wildlife out this morning. A lot of birds, a lot of squirrels. It's been a strange winter. There goes one. It's been a strange start to winter, to say the least. We broke a record high last week. It's been in the 60s all week this week. It's supposed to be warm today, so. Well, here's where we're going to start today. There's quite a bit of boat traffic out this morning, which I expected. But that's all right. Hopefully, we don't need a boat to catch any fish. I'm wondering. We may end up going around, and we may walk down the bank that way. It's a little rough, but the water's low enough that we should be able to get over there. There's a lot of falling down trees, so it should provide a lot of structure. But we're just going to start here in the open, try to get warmed up by the sun here. Yeah, we're going to catch us some fish today. Today's culprits. We've been fishing with large and medium shiners, which we did really well with, but I've been wanting something a little smaller. As you can see, these guys aren't super big by any stretch. He got me. Whatever it was, didn't rob me. All right, great sign right there. Got him that time. It's a yellow perch, I'm pretty certain. As soon as we threw back out there, it's a good size yellow perch too, y'all. Look at that. And the bends are sharp. They get real aggressive when you hook them. Well, bud, I have my hook back. There we go. Well, yow! He ain't a crappie, but trying to. There we go. First fish of 2026. Not a monster. Him is a fish. We're gonna get this guy back in the water. All right. All right, we've been here about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, if that. That's one thing, those yellow perch don't really care how cold it is. Well, that's the first fish of the new year. Not a monster by any stretch, but it was a fish nonetheless. So what I'm doing today, I'm doing this a little differently than I would normally do it. Usually when I fish with live bait, come here buddy, you're a good size one actually. I go through the mouth and out a nostril so they can swim and they live a little longer like that. There we go. You guys are slick this morning. But today what we're doing is just right in their back, right above that line. They're a little smaller, and I can't really give you a good reason why it works better, but for these smaller size minnows, you just have a little bit better success than you normally would if you hook them through the mouth. So all right, guys, so like I said, what we're going to do today is we started over there. I'm just going to walk along this bank. We can go a pretty good ways, and then if need be, we can always just walk back to the car and then drive somewhere else to where we can access some more spots. But the setup that we're using today is virtually the same as almost any other week, because I come out here to catch fish, and I do whatever I think is the best and easiest and most effective way. But this is just my Lew's XF30. Comes with us on every trip. 6'6", medium fast pole. It's a size 30 or size 300 reel. That's 14-pound fluorocarbon K9, and then just the basic setup right here shown that we use. It's got a pre-tied leader there with a hook on it, a split shot and a swivel, and then we're using a bobber. We're fishing about 3 foot deep right now, 2.5, 3 foot, and then we'll just adjust accordingly and try to see what depth we need to be at. So yeah, boy, that's a big old yellow perch. Oh boy, man, that's a good one right there. Sitting here reminiscing about the days fishing with my grandfather in these very spots, and how a lot of times the fishing may not be all that good up here, but for people that know me and know a little bit about my story, these spots up here mean quite a bit to me. That's a good little perch right there. These fish here in Tennessee, they don't get very big. A lot of people think these are just little fish. And the state record for one of these guys is only 2.5 pounds, so that's a good one right there. That's fish number 2. We were just sitting thinking about maybe moving spots, and well, we had that nice little surprise. Like I said earlier, those perch, African perch, yellow perch, I've heard them called a few different things, but they grow really, really large in other countries in a lot colder water, and so it's almost a given in the wintertime here in Tennessee. You can almost always catch those guys. They're pretty active in this cooler air temp and cooler water temp. So yeah, it was not too bad. Like I said, that's fish number 2. You can see we're not fishing super deep with this pole. We'll get baited back up. I'm just fishing at the end of this log here, just in hopes that provides just a little bit of structure. I don't know what the end of it looks like, because usually all of this is underwater, as you can see by the erosion in the rocks. These rocks have been here for probably thousands of years, just water being constantly beat up against them, causing all these holes and stuff. So yeah, we may not catch any crappie today, but we will definitely take some yellow perch. All right, y'all, got another one, another perch. They're all in here. He's not as big as that last one, but see if we can't leave him his meal here. You gotta watch when you go to grab these guys. They will flare up like that, and their gill plates are sharp. All right, we're gonna leave that in his mouth. He's not huge by any stretch, but he is a fish. We're gonna turn this guy loose, and like I said, we're gonna leave him his meal there, since he was kind enough to pay us a visit. There he goes. I'm really torn on whether to switch spots, because I do not mind catching those little guys. They're fun to catch. They put up a little bit of a fight. There's not too much, but I'm cut this off right quick. I would almost guarantee that there are some really good size ones out here. Kind of like that second one that we caught. Well, we'll fish this spot for a few more minutes. I said we'd give it another 20-30 minutes. It's only been, it's only been about 10. So we'll keep trying, and who knows, maybe we'll catch a couple more. I think a thing a lot of people overlook a lot of times is it is 100% fun to catch big bass and big catfish and just big fish in general. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with just coming out and just catching some small guys like that. Like I said, the second one was pretty good size for a yellow perch, but I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just catching some fish. I think a lot of people get that in their get it in their head that they got to go out and catch monsters every time, or they watch other videos on YouTube or other social media platforms, and it's always people catching the big fish. And a lot of times that's just not the reality of it. You're not going to catch monsters every time you go out. I mean, you can, I guess, if you have the means and the electronic equipment and stuff, but I don't check the barometric pressure. I don't really care what the water temp is. I don't care if it's blue skies, if it's cloudy. I come out here to fish, and I try to show y'all what real fishing looks like, and it doesn't get much more real than this. So this is turning out to be a pretty good morning. Not too bad. There we go, y'all. That's a big old bluegill. Look at that. Boy, that's a big old gill. That's a nice surprise right there. I always like catching a good bluegill. And to catch one in this cool of water, he's really cold to the touch. That is a well, that's a good looking bluegill. He got some good color on him. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Take my sunglasses off. Yeah, he's got some orange on him, some nice yellow, some nice purple. And that's it's a good sized gill for the winter. Especially just so I can actually put my finger in this mouth. Yeah, and we're on them this morning. All right, we're gonna get this guy turned back loose into the water. There he goes. There's a lot of times I find myself coming to Saudi Daisy to fish, and a lot of times fishing isn't all that great. I mean, I'll catch some fish, but I think I'm partially impartial to this place, and not just one particular location, because when I was deep in active addiction, I I spent a lot of time on the water here, mainly because it was really one of the only places I had to go when I was homeless and I didn't have anything. And I think the reason I always found myself coming back to this area, and even more so now, is this is where a lot of my childhood was spent, with my grandfather on the water doing this exact thing right here, just some bobber fishing. And I think in a way, more so then and even more so now, as those were some of the best memories I ever had, was with my grandfather. And in active addiction, I could always manage to get a fishing pole so I could do a little bit of fishing, but I think it was a sense of like a safe place where I hold and I cherish the memories that I have in these spots. And I think a lot of times it's what gave me the strength to keep pushing on, because there was a lot of dark days and a lot of dark times in that stretch of my life where I wanted to just give up. I didn't want to continue on. I never thought it would get better. And I'm thankful for these spots along this riverbank through this area, because they hold a lot of meaning to me and they're very special to me. And I'm fortunate enough now that I have an incredibly good life. I'm married, I have a kid, I'm also hung up right here, but life is good, and life is everything that I could only dream of back then that I have now. And this year marks year 4 for me of being completely sober and completely clean from everything. So the fishing may not always be that great up here in Saudi, but it's all right in my book. He got off. Well, that would have been fish number 5 if I could have got him to me. But it was another yellow perch. Pretty sure. Minnow's still semi-alive. We're gonna give it a few more minutes. My poor wife is at the house trying to get everything in order from the move, while also trying to wrangle our toddler in. And it's been a little rough on him because it's a new setting, a new environment. So we'll see if we can get one more. We have a little bit of a walk ahead of us, not super far. But the best part is, I only live 5 minutes from here, so we'll see. We'll cast that out a little further. We can have a little more luck. And if not, we'll call it a day. We'll say 4.5 fish, but who knows? Maybe we'll get one more. That seems to be the fish of choice out here today for these shiners, is those yellow perch. There's starting to be a lot of boat traffic too, so like I said, we'll sit here for a few more minutes and then we may get ready and we'll pack it up and head on to the house. Well, just as soon as I said that and cut the camera off, man, look at that boy. That's a fat one right there, y'all. There we go. See how them gills, he flares them gills out. Man, all right. Hold still, buddy. Hold still. I'm gonna show you to the camera here. Yeah, look at that. They have some of the best color of any fish on them. Those nice orange on their anal fin there and underneath there. He's a healthy little guy. Like I said,
Ooh, rock about gave out. These have been some pretty decent size perch today. I'm glad to see him. There he goes. All right, y'all. That is going to do it for me this morning. I have a lot to get to at the house. All in all, pretty good morning. Caught 5. Should have had 6. Could have had like 7 or 8, but hey, that's the way it goes. I'm not complaining in the least. We got to get outside, we got to catch some fish, and yeah, we got to just relax and unwind a little bit. I hope everybody has a great upcoming week. If you haven't already, hit that like and that subscribe button for me. And if you would, go check out some of the other long form videos on the channel. We're getting really close to that 4,000 hour mark for the second level of monetization, so that would help me out. I love making these videos. I appreciate everyone that tunes in and shows love and watches these videos each week. So yeah, we will do this again next week. I hope everybody has a great upcoming week. Happy New Year. And yeah, I look forward to it. Hopefully getting out here a little more now since I'm a little closer to the water. I'm only about 5 minutes from the house, so hey, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a great year. So yeah, as always, y'all, God bless, and hey, until next time, let's go fishing, y'all.